Every single session, I discuss nutrition with clients. Very simple. Nutrition is about 80% of your results of weight management. I don't care how hard you work out, how hard you run, how hard you exercise, how much cardio you do. You're not going to outburn what you eat. It's really hard to do unless you're an Olympic athlete. Now, how you lose weight, or lose weight, let's say lose weight. Your goal is to lose weight, okay? It is very simple. You have to be in a calorie deficit. And there are many ways to go about doing that, but that is the only way you can actually lose weight. Say, for example, you burn 2,000 calories a day. Okay? And you eat 2,000 calories a day. What happens to your weight? It's a negative. Net, sorry. Stays exactly the same. You don't lose any weight. Now, here we go, the opposite. You burn 2,000 calories a day, you eat 3,000 calories. What happens? You gain 1,000 calories or something. Most likely, it's going to be fat. There are 3,500 calories and 1 pound of fat. So if you did this for 3.5 days, if you did this for an entire week, you'd gain 2 pounds of fat that week, which is a lot. Let me get that. So this is a example of what 5 pounds of fat looks like. This is the density, kind of how big it is. It's almost like butter, and it kind of gets stored on the inside. Obviously, it gets stored inside your body, but your body condenses it. So what happens is if you have too much fat in your body ends up internalizing it and storing it on top of your internal organs. And then once that happens, then you start growing a little bit wider, or more inches, I should say. And this is a density of about 5 pounds of fat. So 5 pounds times 3,500, about, what is that? 17,500 calories. So. And this is about 5 pounds of muscle. You can see the density is much smaller. It weighs about the same, but 5 pounds of muscle is much. I already said this. 5 pounds of muscle is a lot smaller than 5 pounds of fat. And what happens is when you're doing weight training, how you get tone is that your muscles contract, or a little more contracted. It helps pull the skin back. And as you lose body fat, you start seeing more cuts, or you get more lean in tone. Okay, so going back to fat. There's only, I know I'm going to tangent here. There's only 2 ways you can look. You can either look really lean in tone, or you can have a little bit extra fat on you with a lot of muscle, which is kind of what my body type is right now. And it's really hard to have both. If you see people who are extremely lean in tone, we're talking like 2-4% body fat, who are completely shredded, completely ripped. It is virtually impossible for them to have a lot of lean body mass without the use of performance enhancers, which is steroids. Your body cannot sustain having a lot of muscle with a little bit of fat without the use of steroids. So, there's a lot of media out there, and obviously every single celebrity that you see, fitness magazines, you see these guys that are shredded, just huge muscles and low body fat. That is not natural. It is really hard. It's almost impossible to do without performance enhancement drugs. So try not to, and it's hard, but try not to think about looking that way unless you're going to go that route, which I don't recommend, because most people who take performance enhancements, they have some form of heart condition by the age of 50 or 60, and they potentially die from it. It's not good for your heart. It's not good for your liver, kidneys. It's not good for your entire body, as any drug like that is. So knowing that, you have to decide how you want to look. Do you want to have lots of muscle with a little bit extra fat on you, or do you want to be extremely lean in tone but not a lot of big muscles? Most people want to be extremely lean in tone. So you have 2,000 calories burn a day. You eat 3,000 calories. You're gonna gain 2 pounds of fat a week. Okay, which is 7,000 calories extra. Now, lean body mass, which is muscle, also has a general yield of about 3,000 calories worth of energy. So it takes about 3,000 calories plus or minus some to build 1 pound of muscle. All right, so you burn 2,000 calories a day. You eat 1,000 calories. Very simple. You lose weight. You lose 1,000 calories worth of energy a day, and that's equivalent to 2 pounds of fat a week. Okay, that's the only way you can gain or lose weight. It's based off the law of thermodynamics, which states that energy cannot be created or destroyed but transferred. So if you transfer, based off this law of thermodynamics, if you transfer more calories than you can burn, you're going to store that as something. And unless you're on a performance enhancement drug, for example, you're most likely going to store it as fat. It's really hard for your body to build a lot of muscle very quickly. I've only seen maybe a quarter pound to maybe a half a pound of muscle every week. For males, maybe a pound, half a pound to a pound of muscle a month for females. Because it's all about testosterone. Testosterone is the primary precursor to build muscle and lose fat. Estrogen is almost the exact opposite. Estrogen is a precursor to build fat and not retain as much muscle, which is one of the reasons why men have such an easy time losing body fat, is because your metabolisms are a little higher, because the more muscle you have on you, the higher your metabolism is, the more calories you burn, which means more calories you get to eat. In today's society, food is plenty available, and it's really easy to eat a lot of calories, and we're very sedentary and not burn it off. And that's a major problem with that. Okay, so now macros are also important too. Macros are macronutrients. Now, we know how to lose weight. We know how to lose something. When you're in a calorie deficit, your body's going to want to lose muscle and fat, unfortunately. The reason why we do weight training, the reason why we work out and lift heavy weights is to help stimulate your muscles to grow, if not to maintain them. And if you just do cardio or you just diet, what ends up happening is that you lose almost the same ratio of muscle to fat because you're not stimulating your muscles to change, you're not stimulating them to grow or get stronger. And what happens is your body fat percentage doesn't change. Body fat percentage, not BMI, body fat percentage is what determines how healthy you are. If you're obese, if you're in shape. For example, I'm around 16% body fat right now, which is healthy, in a healthy range of body fat. If you're looking at trying to get super lean in tone, for males, about 8%. I'll throw a chart later to show you guys. For females, about 18% is ideal. And then for males, anything above 23-24% body fat is considered clinically obese. And for females, about 34% plus is considered clinically obese. And all that means is you have too much fat on you compared to muscle. It doesn't mean you're as big as a house. I've seen many people that are clients that are skinny fat, meaning they have no muscle on them. They just have fat, no muscle whatsoever. Not whatsoever. Obviously, they have muscle, but not a lot. And what happens is their body fat percentages come out to 30% for a female, which is really, really high. And funny enough, they're considered unhealthy because their body fat percentage is really high. BMI is kind of misleading because if you're working out and if you lift weights and you have a lot of muscle on you, you can be considered unhealthy on that. So I really, it's not very accurate in that sense. What really matters is where your body fat percentage is. If you're at the in shape range, if you take a bodybuilder, for example, who is 5% body fat, but he weighs like 220, and he's only 5'6", for example. BMI scale, completely overweight, he's obese. But you look at him and he's completely healthy. He's actually in shape because he works out, because he has a lot of muscle on him, right? Vice versa, on the BMI scale, you get someone who's skinny fat, who has no muscle on him, but they're really, really skinny and just has more fat than muscle on them. At 30% body fat, the BMI would say they're healthy. So it's kind of skewed. And for the general population who doesn't work out, it makes sense. But for the most part, it's not a good tool to figure out if someone is actually healthy internally or not, based off the two scales, BMI or body fat percentage. All right, let's go to macros. So macros, switch pens. Let's go blue. Macros are important too, because we already know now that in order for you to lose body fat, you got to be in a calorie deficit. In order for you to maintain muscle, you got to do resistance training. You got to stimulate those muscles to maintain, to grow, so that way you can change it. That way it's easier for your body to burn more calories, which then effectively maintain muscle, which then effectively burns fat. Now, macros are important is because they're the types of energy that we consume. Okay, macros are, you got proteins, you got carbs, and you got fats. All right. Simplest form of energy is ATP, adenosine triphosphate. It's how your body contracts muscles, and then through the Krebs cycle, etc. And what your body prefers is glucose. It's basically sugar, and that's what your body prefers to run on. There's a really good analogy on how this all works. Imagine your body's a car, and your gas tank is the sugar that you put in. Your carbs, and your battery is your fat in your body. So if you're trying to lose body fat, if you keep ingesting carbs, if you keep filling the gas tank, your body's never going to go to the battery. It's never going to go and use your body fat unless you're in an extremely huge deficit. So the idea here is to make sure that we keep the gas tank very low and force our body to use our own body fat for energy. And our body wants to stay in homeostasis, and that's the problem with losing body fat. It likes to maintain. Prehistoric times, food was scarce, and our body would like to maintain body fat as much as possible, just in case there was a bad season where we couldn't eat for a couple days or a week or a month, for example. We had extra body fat stores so we can survive. Now it's the complete opposite. We have abundance of food. Everything is high calories. Too much, not even nutrient-rich. Too much crap in the food, and it's so dense that it's really hard to burn off what we consume now. Okay. So if you're trying to lose body fat, you want to use that battery up as quick as possible. So the type of diet that I usually like to do is, if you're working out, is high protein, low carb, and moderate fat. Eating fat does not make you fat. It's just an energy source. Fats take about, say, 6 to 9 hours to break down for energy. Meaning, turn that into glucose. Turn that into carbs, glucose. Carbs, it depends what type. Simple, you have simple carbs, and you have complex. Simple carbs get digested within 10 minutes. They are super fast. Complex, maybe 1 to 2 hours. Just realized it is really hard to see all this because it is so close together. All right, proteins take about 3 to 5 hours to digest, to turn to glucose into energy. So the reason why we want to keep the carbs low is because they digest so quickly, they're available for energy right away. If you don't burn off that energy right away, it gets stored as fat. It's that simple. If we keep our proteins high, we get our amino acids to repair muscle tissue when we work out. It keeps you fuller longer. It doesn't convert into glucose right away. It helps us use our battery for fuel. And fats take 6 to 9 hours. I'm not condoning a high fat diet here, but it is too hard for your body to digest fat and convert into energy right away. So having fat is good for your hormone levels. It's good for your micronutrients, absorption of your micronutrients, which is your vitamins and minerals, and your how full you are, how satiated you are. So with proteins, I usually stick with about 50%, carbs about 20%, and fats about 30% of your daily intake. Now, how do you figure out how many calories you're supposed to eat? You can use my nutrition app, which is free. My whole free personal training program has nutrition in it too. It'll give you a nutrition program, nutrition plan. It's more customized for what your goals are. But just in case, if you don't have the app or it's hard for you to get it, that's really easy to explain. It's basic your TDEE, how many calories you burn a day on average, or your resting metabolic rate, RMR. Resting metabolic rate states how many calories you burn at rest. So you would need to get your body fat percentage taken. I don't like scales that use electrolysis, just because it measures how much water you have on you, and if you're overhydrated or dehydrated, it's going to be completely inaccurate. I use calipers, so like this. It's about 1 to 2% inaccurate up or down, or you can go get hydroelectrostatic weighing. You can go get dunked in water and find out where your true accurate body fat percentage is. The calipers are probably the easiest thing to do, but once you find out how your calipers, or you find out what your body fat percentage is, you find out your body fat percentage, and you find out how much muscle you have. So say, for example, alright, I'm going to do it over here. Say, for example, you weigh 200 pounds, and you're at 10% body fat. Okay? So that means you have 20 pounds of fat on you, right? 20% of 10% of 200, 20 pounds of fat. It also means is you have 180 pounds of lean body mass. Right? So, based off your resting metabolic rate, the easiest equation is about 10 calories per pound of lean body mass. How many calories you burn a day at rest without any activity. So you're looking at easy 1,800 calories a day per. Man, I can't write. Yeah, so 1,800 calories a day is what you would burn, and now what does that mean? Does that mean you eat 800 calories a day in order to beat a 1,000 calorie deficit? No. There is a recommended amount of calories that you should be eating per day. You want to maintain your lean body mass. You want to eat enough to maintain your lean body mass so your body doesn't use your lean body mass for energy. Because if you use your lean body mass for energy, you end up burning less calories every single day. And what ends up happening is you end up at a plateau and you don't burn any more calories or as many calories as before. And it's really hard to get out of that plateau. You want to eat enough to maintain your lean body mass. Which means is you need to, if you're burning 1,800 calories a day, you need to do at least an hour of exercise a day, cardio, anything. And that hour of exercise hopefully will yield you a 500 calorie extra burn. And that'll put you in about a 500 calorie deficit a day, which is equivalent to about 1 pound of fat a week. All right, so 500 calories times 7 equals 3,500 calorie burn. And as long as you're working out to maintain lean body mass, your body's not going to utilize your muscle for energy. It's more likely going to use your own battery storage or your fat for energy. So 3,500 calories burn a week, and you'll lose 1 pound of fat a week. Okay. And then you got your, so that was macros. And your micronutrients are important too. I always recommend clients take a multivitamin, essential ones with everything in it. There are so many brands out there with all types of supplements that are out there. They're not regulated by the FDA.